You're What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Wabi from the Politically Correct Show. Um, Today I'm gonna talk about business sense, basically. Um, getting into a little bit of what Vlad was trending for when Boozy was talking about getting a raise because of the Tekashi 6ix9ine interview and how Tekashi was getting compensated. And then Lil Boozy was just like, well, I need to get a raise because I'm the recurring guy. I'm if not the biggest guy, one of the biggest guys that you have on your show. I need to get paid like so. Basically is what he told Vlad, and Vlad stuck to his guns and said no. Then the domino effect came along, and now Ari Spears is talking about getting a raise. And then he said hell no to Ari Spears. And I don't know. I mean, for me, it's kind of like, it's like, are you going to be the guy who you know is going to be fired? Like, you have that friend at work who, sooner or later, he's going to get fired at some point. Like, I've had a few friends at work like that where, he's going to get fired or he's going to quit at some point. And you want to be his friend, you got to be his friend, but you can't be too much of his friend before you get fired just like him. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, for me, it's like Ari Spears, I get what he was trying to say and what he was trying to do, but he went about it the wrong way. Like, Boosie is going to do Boosie, and he's going to say, I need a raise. And then that was a no. Then he quit. That's on Boosie. So Vlad has to maneuver from that, and he's gonna find a replacement Boosie at some point in time. It's Vlad TV. He's been on for a while. It's not like he's just gonna be off because Boosie isn't there. And then Ari Spears thinks, oh, well, I'm the only one left, so I should get paid like Boosie, but his views aren't like Boosie's. So in return, Vlad says, hell no. And, Exchange came along, and now Vlad says he can never be on the show ever again. But, like 5 years later, he might pop up or something. But the point is, Ari Spears messed up a bag, his routine bag, for basically nothing, because it's like, you wanted a few thousand. It's like on my first real job, because my first job was yard maintenance with a family friend, and then my first real job. Well, I guess it was my second real job, because my first real job was Wendy's, and then my second real job at a real company was at Texas Roadhouse. And I remember at Texas Roadhouse, I was asking the dishwashers, like, how much you get paid? How much you get paid? And then they told me they got paid, I believe it was 11 an hour, and I only got paid 10. And I was just like, hey, why the heck they getting paid 11 and I get paid 10? At the time, I think like $8 was minimum wage. And at that point, it's a smaller amount of money per se. It's only like $1 short, but you're still pissed off a little bit, because this is my second job, and the way that they did it was they asked how much I wanted to get paid, and I said 10. Because I thought that was minimum wage, and it's my second job, so I was just like, yeah, let me get paid that 10. Knowing that I lowballed myself, and after that, I was just like, hey, they got me. and I'm new, so they got me. And after that, I thought of it like, well, now I know next time not to lowball myself, to really do the education and really see how much people, because I could have called like somebody from school. Because at that time there was like 3 or 4 people from school that worked there, so I could have called somebody from school easily and asked them like, "Yo, how much you get paid?" And they would have told me. But because I didn't do that, I got paid a little less. You know what I'm saying? So that made me say, "Hey, next time I'm gonna do the education so I get paid more." On a higher scale, I would have thought of it. I would have done the same thing, because it's just like, why mess up the journey just for a few more bucks? Because for him, that's just a few more bucks, really. Because look, put it like this: like when I was listening to 50 Cent's audiobook, he was talking about not destroying bridges, but building it better. So like this guy, I think his name was like Chris or something, and he helped 50 Cent with an album, right? And 50 Cent was 50, and he wanted a certain amount of money for the album. 50 Cent was just like, you can't have that much for what you did for this album, but I will compromise with you and I'll give you a point on the album, but I can't give you this much money up front. And then he was just like, "No, I don't want the point. I want the money. I don't want the point. I want the money." And then everybody around him, even his camp, was just like, "Yo, just take the fucking point. Just take it." It's 50 Cent. This album's highly anticipated. You might as well just take the point. He has a lot of street cred. So like at this point, you know what I'm saying? He's probably not the biggest commercially, but he's on the streets, he's selling out. So it's like, you might as well just take the point. And he was just like, "No, I'm not taking the point." Moments and times went on, and at the moment he just was like, "Fuck the point." And I forget how much he paid him at the end of all that, but he paid him a certain amount at the end of all that. Wasn't as much as he asked for. Then he didn't get the point. And it was just like, if he had just sat there and took the point, then he would have made more, because the point at the time was just based off of how much you're going to sell afterwards. So how much he sells is how much that point is going to be worth. And that point to this day was like worth, well, not this day, but at the time he was making the audiobook, he said it was worth $1 million something, like 5 times more than what Chris was asking for. You know what I'm saying? So he should have took the point. And then not only could he have took the point, but if he had took the point, 50 Cent would have respected him more, and he would have been like, "Oh man, he really took the point. Oh, we compromised." And then maybe you could have asked for a little more money on top of that. So you would have had the point and a little more money on top of that. So you would have had what you had at the end, and then probably the point, which is like $1 million later on. You know what I'm saying? It's like a compromise. It's like, instead of risking it all for the what you think you are owed, why don't you just play the game and see where it goes from there? Because at the end of the day, man, we all getting paid. Like, what if Ari Spears becomes, because, you know, sorry for Vlad or anybody, but thrones have to be taken over. Vlad's not gonna be there forever. So in the long run, when he's there at the end, what if he is the only, literally like one of the only ones to be on Vlad TV, and then he really does have to compensate him that much? You just missed your chance, because now he's not gonna do it. He's never gonna do it now. You're just gonna, if anything, you're probably gonna be a guest at this point. So it's like, he messed it all up. Aries Spears kind of messed it all up for himself. I ain't gonna lie to you. And I usually don't side with Vlad on anything because I think Vlad is kind of lame. But with this and the business, and I kind of always do side with Vlad on business. His business sense makes makes sense. You know what I'm saying? And, you can't hate on it. So I gotta say, man, Ari Spears making us look bad. I ain't gonna lie to you. Ari Spears is definitely making comedians look bad. He's making black people look bad. He's making fat people look bad. You know, he's making media look bad. He's making us look like jokes because it's like, you're not top shelf. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not top shelf entertainment. So don't think you can get paid like that. At the end of the day, you gotta be humble enough to understand the position that you're in. You gotta be humble. Like, you know, you can't just be out here like just doing whatever, like the fans pay you and then the networks pay you. Well, the fans pay the network and the network pays you. So don't bite the network that feeds you because you can quickly be replaced. You might go off and go somewhere else and do things, but you can be replaced, and don't act like you can't. That's the problem with a lot of people is they feel like they can't be replaced. That's how it is in the real workplaces. People sit here and think that they can't be replaced because they work so well. They've been there probably for a long time or a little bit, and now they're like, "Oh, I'm irreplaceable. Ain't nobody can replace me." I promise you they will. I promise you they will. I remember one day I thought I was irreplaceable until I got replaced by like five Mexicans. You know what I'm saying? That works. So at the end of the day, if it takes 10 people, they will replace you. You know, but you will be replaced. You will be replaced no matter if they have to pay 10 people less or they have to freaking pay three people more. They're going to replace you at some point. And the show will go on without you. Ain't nobody bigger than the program. So, with that in mind, God bless you. God bless the first date. And God bless America. It's Wabi. We out.